So we are down to the end here, the Roland Hemond Award. Right now, Roland Hemond of the Diamondbacks. Come on up and present the award.
Well, I'm not surprised to be the last hitter. Growing up in Rhode Island, I batted ninth many, many times. As a matter of fact, the only wall I ever struck was at the Rhode Island State Penitentiary. Fortunately, I was on a visiting team. It was about 175 feet to left field. But in any event, it's a big thrill for me. And when I get the call from Will Lingo about making a presentation tonight and who should we give it to, it didn't take us long to agree to the fact that Bud Selig was the man who should get this award. I was very fortunate to be with the Boston Braves organization when we moved to Milwaukee in 1953, and that's where I first met Bud, who was a young man working for his father who had an automobile agency. The only thing I've never forgiven him for is the fact that he did loan automobiles to, I believe, Eddie Matthews and Johnny Logan, but he didn't loan me one. I'll get even someday. Anyway, Bud Selig has been a #1 fan from the time I met him. He showed his great love for the game itself. He was a season ticket holder. I would see him at every function that I would go to, banquets or luncheons, the baseball. And for him to grow to become the commissioner of baseball was no surprise to me, because he captured what was necessary and what would make fans happy. And the job he did in Milwaukee was incredible later on. And I know he was brokenhearted when the Braves moved from Milwaukee to Atlanta. But it wasn't too long that he put a group together, was able to purchase the franchise from Seattle that was not solidified yet. And then the rest is history. The innovations that he has made, designated hitters, interleague play, wild cards, single wild card game, the immense growth of our game and the tremendous attendance that's taken place now. And like from between 2000 and 2009, 8 different world champions. So the domination of clubs, like when the New York Yankees, the great New York Yankees, when I was growing up, they would win so many times repeatedly, and they would clinch pennants by 20 games, so that there was not a good race in September. And I was a big Red Sox fan growing up, and they broke my heart many times. But we got even in 1957. The Braves in Milwaukee defeated the Yankees in 7 games, and that was one of the big thrills of my lifetime career, and certainly for Bud himself. And he brought back Hank Aaron from after his days in Atlanta back to Milwaukee, where Henry had done so much for the history of the Milwaukee Braves and the home run king and a tremendous individual. So there are a lot of instances that run through my mind that when I think about it, Bud is involved. To me, he was a great fan, and he has run baseball as a commissioner for the fans. And I can't thank him enough for his role in that regard, and I'm thrilled. It's a pleasure for me beyond description to be giving him this award, because he's so deserving, and I'm one who was able to witness from his first days in the game, as being a fan, and then his growth and the tremendous job that he has done. It was nice to see Cal Ripken tonight, because he gave me a tremendous thrill when he broke Lou Gehrig's record. But the night before, I was sitting next to Frank Robinson, and I said, geez, I have a bad thought. He said, Roland, what's that? I said, well, he says, you're always so positive. I said, well, wouldn't it be a shame if Cal got hit by a pitch ball tonight and he couldn't break the record tomorrow? And lo and behold, his first time at bat that night, when he is at 2,130, Tro Percival, on the first pitch of the game in the bottom of the first, floored Cal, and Cal would remember, flat on his back. And he said, oh my gosh. I said, we better send a chauffeur to pick him up tomorrow so he won't get in an accident. And then when he broke the record, and then Bobby Bonilla and Rafael Palmeiro pushed him to go around the warning track, and he was shaking hands with the fans, and it's in right center field, and there was some baseball official says to me, "You got to put a stop to this, Roland." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, the pitcher for the other team, is waiting to his turn to pitch." I said, "Well, Mike Messina for us is waiting too, but you want me to call to stop this one of the great moments of baseball history?" And when he went by the Angels dugout, they all came out and hugged him and congratulated him, and then he waved to his mom and dad, and I tell you, I had the shivers, the goosebumps and the tears, and Cal will forever remember. And one other item, my secretary, Debbie Bent, a nice young lady, my wife Margot, had told us that, could you place the picture of our two grandchildren at the time between the 3 and the 1, so then every time you see that on the landmark of the wall over the right field wall where the numbers come up, you'll know that we know, and our two grandchildren know, that they were part of that great celebration. Now, when you think about what Bud Selig has accomplished from attendance records that now that have taken place, the value of franchises have increased tremendously. They used to say sometimes it's a pa and ma operation back in the 50s, but today it has become big. Baseball America, I want to thank, because they have played a vital role in publicizing the young players coming up or being signed or observed in college and high school ranks, and you do a fabulous job to keep us all well abreast of what the future of the game will be with the coming stars. So one friend of mine, Jim Marshall, good friend, he said, "Roland, make it brief." So Jim, thanks for the advice. I thank you all. God bless you, and continue to be the great fans that you have been. Thank you.
Stay up here with Bud. Bud's going to come on up.
Yeah.
Okay, come right over here. Come right over here, Mr. Hemond. Okay. I'm going to give this to you. Bud, congratulations. Thank you very much. Come on, Bud.
Sure. You bet. Thank you very much, Roland, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to thank Baseball America and my friend Roland Hemond, who, he's right, we've known each other for 55 years. Roland, all that proves is you and I are old. But it's been interesting for me tonight to listen to Frank Cooney. Frank, are you still here? Right here. Ooh. I'm the guy that told him on the draft choices. Now, Frank, I'm going to be very honest about it. I'm the guy that set you out to do it. But this award means a great deal to me. Number one, I want to thank Baseball America again. And Roland's contribution to this sport have been remarkable. I've watched Roland in a lot of different situations. And not only was he a great executive, but his love for the game has been remarkable. And so, Roland, it's a wonderful honor, but it's a greater honor because you presented the award. As I look back on the last 50-some-year career, the last 23 years as commissioner, a lot of things come into my mind. I'm happy to say that my friend Frank Cooney was there to witness many of them. I guess I yelled a little bit now and then, didn't I, Frank? And a couple of times, but we got things done. And I guess the thing I want to say to you tonight, somebody asked me after I became commissioner, years after, what do I miss the most? And I told them I missed my contact with the scouts and the player development people. And I really did. It's a little lonely sitting in the commissioner's office, but I grew to appreciate what the scouts and the player development people did. They were the lifeblood of this sport. And for all the things that went on during my commissionership, and obviously there was more change in 23 years than there had been in the previous 100, but what I really appreciated was the sport changed, got more popular, and we were able to do it keeping the same passion that makes this sport so remarkable. I've often said that of all the qualifications that people have to be successful in this business, you can't do it without the passion for this sport. It is the greatest game in the world. It is a game that not only is a social institution, as I've often said, but its social consequences are remarkable. And it's all of you who have perpetuated that. And so today, the game is more popular than ever before. Its outreach is more remarkable. And all of that makes me very happy. You know, when we started in 1992, the sport was at a pretty low point. I guess I'm being kind there, Frank, aren't I? And then we lost the '94 World Series and bitter confrontation and labor, our 8th work stoppage in my baseball career since 1970. And things really looked bleak. But they didn't to me, because I knew that if we made the changes that we had to make, if we did the things that we had to do, I'm proud here. I come here tonight and I see the Pittsburgh Pirates, richly deserved as the organization of the year. Kansas City Royals in the World Series the last 2 years. That couldn't have happened 25 years ago. It wasn't possible. The objective in this sport is to provide hope and faith in as many places as is possible. And that was my goal. My goal was to restructure the economics, to restructure things that everybody had a chance, that management skills, Roland will understand this very well, took over, and that money wasn't the sole determining factor of whether you won or lost. Of course, money always plays a role and always will. But we now have had, in the last decade, all 30 teams in the playoffs, more what I call competitive balance. Pete Rozelle used to call it parity, but I like competitive balance better. We have a remarkable amount now that never was possible. And I know that that will continue. And so I guess I really consider myself fortunate to work in a business that you love, to be able to make contributions to a sport that has really been a critical part of my life, going back into the mid-50s, has really been something. We made all these changes. Everybody said, you can't do it. We don't do it that way. We've never done it that way. It didn't matter. What you finally decide as a commissioner is you have to do what's in the best interest of the sport. Will it be unpopular? Oh, will it be? Did I take a pounding, particularly in the 90s? Oh, you bet I did. After all, Frank, when you deal with Don Fear and Gene Orza every day, you have to take a pounding. But in the end, you do what you think is right. And I'm grateful that our revenues have grown just tremendously and that things have worked as well as they have. And for that, I'm grateful. I'll close with this. I was giving a speech in New York on the last night of my commissionership, the New York Writers' Dinner, very lovely affair. And I gave the speech that I had worked on and our people had worked on. And then I said something that just came out, and I will close with that tonight. I said, when you analyze my career, you analyze my whole stay in baseball, what you've seen here is a little boy's dreams that this time came true. Thank you all very, very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.